Hello again, everybody. I'm Roger Hoover. Glad to welcome you back to the Crimson Tide Sports Network, and welcome to Crimson Drive, presented to you by Regions Bank. Regions Bank is the official bank of the Southeastern Conference, and make sure you order your new University of Alabama National Champions Visa check card and checks from Regions Bank. Just go online to regions.com/GoBama to order yours today. The background today: Hinkle Fieldhouse, historic Hinkle Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm not actually there, but thought it was fitting to have it as a virtual background because Alabama will start its run in the Ncaa tournament coming up from this storied building on Saturday, as the Crimson Tide are in the East region. They're the number 2 seed taking on the number 15 seed Iona Gales coming up on Saturday, and we can't wait for Alabama to begin its run not only in the men's tournament but the women's basketball tournament as well in San Antonio on Monday. We'll have more on that coming up in a moment, but today's show is really all about Crimson Tide basketball, as we have some really special guests. I think you're going to enjoy this edition of Crimson Drive. Taking a look at what's coming up, speaking of Alabama men's basketball, we will hear from 2 members of the Crimson Tide. We'll have interviews with Herbert Jones and Alex Reese coming up, as they were quarantined on Monday in their hotel room, so they had a little bit of time to talk to the network. We had great conversations with both Herb and Alex Reese, 2 outstanding seniors, great members of this Alabama men's basketball team. And then earlier this week on Tuesday, I had a chance to catch up with the athletics director for the University of Alabama, Greg Byrne, not only get his thoughts on, of course, Alabama basketball getting ready for the Ncaa tournament in men's and women's basketball, but just his brief overview of everything going on with Alabama athletics. You'll get to hear my monthly conversation with Greg Byrne, as well as comments from Nate Oates when he met with the media yesterday getting ready for Alabama's first round game against the Iona Gales. Taking a look at today's headlines, we start with Alabama men's basketball. Last Sunday could not have gone better for the Crimson Tide, beating LSU by 1 point in a thriller in the championship game of the SEC tournament in Nashville. And then it was Selection Sunday. About an hour or so later, Alabama's named the number 2 seed in the East region. And coming up on Saturday from Hinkle Fieldhouse, we'll take on number 15 seed Iona, led by former Kentucky and Louisville head coach, and for those of you that remember Alabama basketball in the 80s, Providence head coach Rick Pitino. He's now the head coach of the Iona Gales. And Saturday, the tip-off will be at 3 p.m. Central. Our airtime on the network will be at 2 p.m. from historic Hinkle Fieldhouse. Also, congratulations to the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Nate Oates. He's already been named the SEC Coach of the Year, and now he's a finalist for the Naismith Coach of the Year. We certainly expect more accolades coming in for Coach Oates and the Crimson Tide as this NCAA tournament run rolls along. In women's basketball, Alabama also back in the big dance. Christy Curry's team is the number 7 seed in the Hemisphere region, as the entire tournament is taking place in San Antonio. So they named all the regions after all the different landmarks in San Antonio, and Alabama is the number 7 seed. First time the Crimson Tide have made it to the women's NCAA tournament since 1999. It'll still be a little bit before Alabama plays its first round game. That's coming your way Monday at 11 a.m. against the number 10 seed North Carolina Tar Heels. We will be in San Antonio for the broadcast here on the network. Alabama football team, it was announced earlier this week that the 2021 Golden Flake A-Day game at Bryant-Denny Stadium will be played on Saturday, April 17th at noon. Our radio coverage that day will begin at 11:30 a.m. and also spring practice begins tomorrow for the Crimson Tide. So on next week's edition of Crimson Drive, we will have some football conversations as we look at where Alabama stands as 2021 spring practice begins. The baseball team continues playing well. They won a series against the Stetson Hatters, a team that's picked to contend for the ASUN title. So great job by the Crimson Tide over the past weekend. Tuesday did not get to play down at Troy, as that game was postponed due to rain. Now this weekend, it's the start of SEC play, and it starts with the best team in the nation according to the major polls, the Arkansas Razorbacks, number 1 in the country, and that series will last from Friday to Sunday. We will have all radio coverage for you here on the network. Now, the softball team last weekend did start conference play. They swept Auburn, played really well down on the Plains. Wednesday's game at UAB was postponed due to the rain and all the storms we had in Tuscaloosa. Hope everybody is doing well. And, of course, that game was scheduled to be played in Birmingham, so hope everyone across the state did well with the storms on Wednesday. Great honors for the Crimson Tide. Bailey Hemphill had that one towering home run on Friday night. She had a great weekend against Auburn, and she was named the SEC Player of the Week. Lexi Kilfoyle named the inaugural SEC SEC Newcomer of the Week. She was a freshman in 2020, still has that freshman status for 2021, and she was voted as the SEC Newcomer of the Week for all the great work she did pitching for the Crimson Tide. Now this weekend, it's a top 25 matchup as the Tennessee Lady Volunteers are in town, a Friday through Sunday series at Rhodes Stadium. Certainly hope you can make it out to the Rhodes House and cheer on the Crimson Tide. Then gymnastics. Saturday will be the SEC Championships at 2:30 and 7 o'clock. The meet will be here in the state of Alabama at the Von Braun Center in downtown Huntsville, Alabama. So hopefully some fans are able to make the trip and watch Alabama compete in the SEC Championships. We know the Tide have been near the top of the SEC all season long. The meets will be televised on the SEC network. So best of luck to Dana Duckworth and the Crimson Tide getting ready for Saturday's SEC Championships. SEC honors really have been pouring in this season for Herbert Jones, an outstanding senior for the Crimson Tide, the SEC Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. You can go on and on about the great job that Herbert Jones did this year for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And on Monday, had a chance to catch up with Herb as he was having to quarantine all day long when the Crimson Tide made the trip from Nashville to Indianapolis. The first thing they had to do was to go to individual hotel rooms and quarantine, make sure they passed their COVID test negative. And once that was complete and the Crimson Tide would all test negative, everything's good to go, no COVID issues for Alabama getting ready for the Ncaa tournament. But Herbert Jones had a little bit of time to kill in his hotel room, and so we were glad to visit with Herbert Jones of the Crimson Tide. Joined now by not only the SEC Player of the Year, but the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, Herbert Jones, now a two-time SEC champion, you could say, regular season champs and the tournament champs. Herb, how's everything going? Thanks for joining us.
Everything's going good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we were certainly excited to see all the great wins for the Crimson Tide in Nashville. What are your main takeaways from the SEC tournament?
Well, I mean, it's very difficult to, win the regular season and win the tournament. So I think going into the tournament, we knew how tough it was going to be. And I feel like all of the guys stepped up to the challenge and got it done.
Alabama was down 9 at halftime against Tennessee on Saturday. What were the keys to the second half comeback for the Tide?
Our defense, I feel like we came out and we didn't really, start the game how we wanted to defensively. And I feel like that's a big part of our success throughout the year. And once we settled in on defense, and I feel like that's what made us get our offense rolling.
Yeah, it certainly did get rolling for the Crimson Tide as Alabama got the win against Tennessee and then got ready for LSU. And just what were the emotions like heading into that ball game for you guys?
We knew it was going to be a tough game because they have some pretty talented guys on LSU's team. And, we just came in and tried to harp on the same things that we've been harping on all year. Is starting it on the defensive end. And I feel like we came out ready to play. We came out, I think we took an 8-0 lead. And I think we had some lapses defensively, a couple mistakes on the defensive end late. But, I mean, our energy and effort and determination to win brought us the championship home.
Certainly did bring the championship home. What can you tell us about the final play of the game? You had one of the key blocks for Alabama just right at the end.
We came to the huddle after Coach Oates called a timeout, and he told us, this is what we want. We want to win it on the defensive end. And I couldn't have pictured it any other way. Last couple of seconds is something you always dream of, getting a stop to win a championship, and that's how it went.
Certainly did. A big celebration for you guys, running all over the floor and then getting to cut down the nets. First of all, let's go back just a couple of weeks ago. What was it like to cut down the nets at Coleman and then you get to do it again in Nashville at Bridgestone?
I felt great to do it at home, in front of the home crowd and the fans that we had there. It's an indescribable feeling. It's something you always dream of. You see it on TV all the time, and you just wish you was in those shoes. And to be in those shoes, it was a great feeling. And to do it in Nashville again, you rarely ever hear of it. I think we're the only team to win both this year. It felt great. And it was kind of funny that I think Coach Oates cut down one side of the nets. Like, he cut down the nets on one end, but I think they left the nets on the other end. And I told him, man, we can't leave any nets here. And I went and cut the other ones down.
That's really exciting. A great moment for you and your fellow seniors. This senior class has meant so much. And there's also been the photo circulating around online about you, along with John Petty and Alex Reese in high school. Was it at like a Mr. Alabama awards, Mr. Basketball Alabama awards banquet? The photo of you guys back then in high school, and then the photo of you guys yesterday. Did you see those tweets that had those photos side by side?
Yeah, I seen him. That was I think it was the player of the year for each classification in Alabama. And I mean, it's crazy that, you know, that we got to take another picture, with the SEC championship our senior year of college. I mean, it's like a dream come true.
Yeah, it really is. And you guys have been really feeding off each other, it seems like. Just is the chemistry on this team the strongest you've been around?
Most definitely. We had great chemistry last year, but we took a lot of losses, and I feel like this year, I mean, it might be better than it was last year. Especially I feel like it really boils down to, I think, like the pandemic did it, to be honest, because like to have a group of guys, go through what everybody's going through this year, and to be able to stay focused through it all, all the protocols we had to go through, not having fans or going on the road, not being able to take certain guys with us. I feel like that made us a lot closer, and cherish the relationships we've built since we've been on campus.
Yeah, a lot of love for your teammates, but love it seems like as well for the coaching staff and the staff. Just what can you tell us about the relationship between the players and the staff right now?
I mean, it's great, I think everybody, it's 100% buy-in from day one. And they trust us just as much as we trust them. So, if we see anything that we think we should tweak on the court, or, like in a practice going into a game, like they'll listen to us just like we listen to them.
Now you're getting ready to play in the NCAA tournament. You guys did not come home to Tuscaloosa after everything was done in Nashville on Sunday. So what are you guys up to right now? How are you starting to pass the time as you get back in the NCAA tournament bubble?
Right now, I mean, we're just quarantining. We had to go through a couple of COVID tests to make sure we're good to go. And I mean, I've just been watching movies and playing my game right now, and talking to my family back home, because we didn't get to go back home and see them. So I'm just talking to a lot of my family members and friends, and just watching movies.
Yeah, just trying to pass the time as you guys don't have roommates for this trip, right? You're just all in your own hotel rooms.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're by ourselves.
Oh, you're ready for what's coming up. First of all, on Saturday, Alabama against Iona, and you get to play at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Are you a fan of the movie Hoosiers? Have you seen the final championship game from that movie before?
No, I haven't seen Hoosiers. I haven't seen Hoosiers yet, but I mean, I'm very excited to play. I'm very excited to play at Hinkle Fieldhouse.
What do you feel like are going to be the keys for this team getting ready for this NCAA tournament run?
I just stand locked in on the defensive end and playing with a ton of confidence on the offensive end. I feel like when we make shots and we defend as well as we can, I feel like we can, beat anybody in the country.
Herb, any final message to the fans before we let you go?
I mean, just stay behind us, and if you're creating a bracket, pick us to win it.
That sounds good. Well, Herb, best of luck against Iona on Saturday and everything to come in the NCAA tournament. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Thank you.
Great conversation with Herbert. And once again, players were just quarantining in their room, so they had a little bit of extra time to talk with us. And next up on the list was Alex Reese, the senior from Pelham, who has had a terrific season and has been really a great leader for the Crimson Tide. And he's our next guest on this week's edition of Crimson Drive. Joined now by Alex Reese, another outstanding Alabama senior, as the Crimson Tide get ready to play in the NCAA tournament. And Alex, just what does it feel like not only being a one-time SEC champion this year, but a two-time champion, winning the regular season and the SEC tournament?
It feels amazing. This is what we came into this summer, after the COVID pause, we came into the summer, just ready to work. And that was really our goal from day one. We said we wanted to, sock everybody. And it's never been done before here, or I don't think it's been done. Has it been done, SEC, the regular season and tournament?
I believe it's been a long time since the 80s if it has happened, but yeah.
Okay, well, it was good to get back on that road, and we're just ready to keep working and see where the tournament goes.
This is the second year of the Nate Oates era. Was so much of last year just trying to learn about the offense, and then was the focus over the summer getting into this year the defense?
Yeah, we really did emphasize, playing better defense this year. Last year, I do think the style of play kind of took a while for not a good couple guys, but for the team to, get used to and get acclimated to, and just playing with different people. It was a really, really different team last year. But, I think we got in this summer and throughout the season and just worked and, built real good chemistry with everybody. And, it was just fun to see all the work that we put in pay off finally.
Yeah, it really has paid off. What do you remember about some of the games in November and December as you guys were trying to find your footing? It was a crazy year getting ready for this season during the pandemic, but then you guys certainly hit your stride once SEC play started.
Yeah, we did start out kind of slow this year. Feel like we just had to work through, a couple of road bumps. And like I said, get the chemistry going, get everybody flowing, playing well together. We found a couple of lineups that work really well together. So, I think that was a big part of, the slow start that we had to this season.
How much fun were those road victories early on in conference play? You go to Tennessee, they were top 10 in the country at the time. You're able to hand them a loss. Same could be said for Kentucky and then LSU and Auburn after that.
It was awesome. We'd only played at Tennessee one time before, and we came up a little bit short a couple of years ago. I think it was our sophomore year. So, to go in there and beat them while they were ranked high in top 10, that was really good. It gave us a big confidence boost. We felt like we could play with anybody in the nation, and especially going to Rupp, when you mentioned, that was awesome. We played there a few times before, and, getting a win in that arena was just, it felt amazing.
What was different about road games this year? Obviously, the social distancing, not as many people in the building. Do you like having a loud, raucous crowd around you like you had at Rupp last year, or can you hear like more individual hecklers and things like that in a season like this?
No, I'd much rather be playing with a full crowd in the stands. Everywhere we go, there would probably been sold out. So it's always fun. But as far as not having as many people, I think it's a lot easier to hear. I wouldn't say hecklers, but it's a lot easier to hear people in the stands, and it's a lot easier to communicate with your team. Like on the bench, you can hear coach a lot better. Just that type of stuff kind of helps.
Well, take me through one road game, the Mississippi State game. You guys are able to grind out, get that victory, come back home to Tuscaloosa, have a great celebration, led right in the Auburn game, the win there, and then cutting down the nets afterward. Just what was that little stretch like for you guys?
It was really fun. We knew the season title was on the line, so to go in and Starkville and beat them and secure it there, that was really fun. And then being able to celebrate it, against a good Auburn team back at home the next week, it was unreal.
Is that something you dreamed about, getting to cut down the nets at Coleman Coliseum, especially for the seniors and Alabama guys specifically? Getting to do it there must have meant a lot.
Yeah, it meant the world to me. 4 years has been a long time. I've played a lot of games in that gym. I'm really thankful for the opportunity to, be able to play for Alabama and be, a part of this program. So, yeah, cutting down the nets in Coleman, that was awesome. I was sad to play my last game there, but it was good.
You guys have been winning ever since then. 3 wins in Nashville at the SEC tournament. First of all, let's talk about the Tennessee game. Just what was the mood at halftime, being down 9, but knowing if you guys focused on defense and rebounding, good things would happen in the second half like they did?
Yeah, we really had to lock back in on defense. We didn't have a good defensive half in the first half of that Tennessee game. So when we came in the locker room, we said we got to get stops, and offense will start flowing. We're always pretty confident that we're going to start hitting shots or get to the rim, make shots, get our offense going. But defense, we had to really lock in and just tell ourselves we're not gonna go out like that. We didn't come this far for our season to get cut short in the SEC tournament like that.
And then you back it up the next day against LSU. Were emotions really running high right before the ball game?
Yes, sir. I'm not really too sure what had happened to start the confrontation or anything, but yeah, emotions were definitely running high. It's a big rivalry game, and we knew we had to beat them to they were trying to beat us. You know, they played a really good game too. So, you know, it was definitely an emotional game, and I'm just glad we came out of there with the win.
Yeah, and the Alabama men's basketball team accounts have been posting all these videos, some of the pregame speeches, not just from Coach Oates, which are inspiring in their own right, but also Coach Petway getting into you guys right before it looks like you even head back to the locker room. What can you tell us about those moments?
We just link up before we go back in, talk to Coach one more time before you know, we come back out to the court for, you know, layup lines and stuff before the warm up. But Coach Petway just tries to get us fired up, and he does a really good job of doing that. He always has the right things to say, especially coming from him. I know how important it is for him because, you know, he played here and all that good stuff. So, you know, it's really good or really fun to see him bring so much energy, and it's really helpful to get us started going the right way.
Well, you're part of a really special senior class here at Alabama, and the picture has been going around over social media over the last week. Everybody posting the picture of you along with Herb and John when you guys were high schoolers at an awards banquet, and now cutting down the nets, getting a championship trophy in Nashville. Just what's your reaction, first of all, when you see that high school photo from back in the day?
Man, I wish I had a better haircut and better swag back then. But no, it's awesome. You know, I was really blessed to be able to come in and play with them guys. I've known them for a long time, and you know, to see their growth and to see where they're going to go with this game of basketball is just it's been amazing for me. I'm just glad I was along for the ride.
You mentioned a different hairstyle. You've had how many hairstyles during this year? Now even a mustache going for the tournament. Is that the plan?
Yeah, it's mustache March. Yeah, I had started out, I think I was just blonde, and then it got to the tips, and my hair grew a little bit, and I cut it off, and I just cut the beard off probably about an hour ago. So yeah, we're getting ready for the dance.
Well, you got to be excited. The NCAA tournament, Alabama against Iona, and you get to be in Indianapolis. Just how are you passing the time getting ready for Saturday?
Really, today all I've been doing is just, you know, hanging out. We're in quarantine right now. So I've just been, you know, watching a couple of TV shows, really relaxing, trying to get my body back right. 3 games in 3 days is tough. So I've just been trying to, you know, fuel my body, get hydrated, and rest as much as I can before we start practicing again.
Have you ever watched the movie Hoosiers? Is it extra special to get to play at Hinkle Fieldhouse on Saturday?
I haven't seen that movie, actually. I'm not a huge movie guy. So I'm kind of lacking in that department, but I want to say I just saw it it's on Netflix now, so I might have to tune into that one here soon. Yeah,
it might be a good one. They have a really special game inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. Well, you guys do as well on Saturday, and Alex, I'll let you go on this. Just what's going to be some of the big keys for you guys? Is it what you guys have been doing every game so far in this championship season, or are you guys going to keep it? Are you change anything up getting ready for this tournament run?
I think we need to just, you know, keep playing our brand of basketball, you know, blue collar, playing hard, really just grinding out stops on defense. And, you know, I feel like we're clicking or starting to click a little bit better on offense. Hopefully a couple of guys will, and myself included, will make a few more shots, you know, going throughout the NCAA tournament. So, you know, I feel like we just need to lock in and study film and just get ready for each team that we're going to have to face on this road.
Any final message to the Alabama fans?
We're going to try to bring one home for y'all.
All right. Well, Alex, best of luck in the NCAA tournament, especially with Iona coming up on Saturday. Roll Tide. Thanks again.
Thank you. Roll Tide.
Yeah, we got to get the guys watching Hoosiers while they're in Indianapolis getting ready for what we hope will be a great run in the NCAA tournament. But thanks to Herbert Jones and Alex Reese for joining me earlier in the week from Indy. Also on Tuesday, I had my monthly conversation for the month of March with the Director of Athletics for the University of Alabama, Greg Byrne. He's always so great about giving us time to not only talk about all the current sports and everything going on at the moment, and right now that's a lot for Alabama, but also some long-term planning and especially looking ahead to next football season for the Crimson Tide. I think you'll enjoy this conversation with the Director of Athletics for the University of Alabama, Greg Byrne. Greg, Roll Tide. It's always great to talk to the athletic director of a championship school. How's everything going here in Tuscaloosa?
Well, good to talk with you, Roger. It seems like it's hard to believe that a month goes by between these. seems like I was just talking to you last week on the last one. So it's good to see you again. There's a lot going on, and Nate seemed to get some traction with his championship school quote after the SEC championship. So that was a good one. I think we may try to use that one a little more.
Yeah, I think so, because Alabama just continues winning, not just with the basketball, like we'll certainly talk about, but just all sports right now having success. You got to be proud of that, especially in the midst of this pandemic.
Yeah, it really, I've had a lot of fans that I've come across and talked to that have said or have written in too, just saying how nice it's been to have athletics at Alabama, obviously throughout the country, but especially here at Alabama for Alabama fans is something that they could look forward to through all this. I know I personally did, and it just gives us a chance to feel like we have some normalcy in our world right now, which we all want and crave, and it's been very fun to see our teams go and compete at the levels that they have through these very challenging times.
And with basketball winning the SEC regular season championship, first of all, what did you love about the celebration those guys got to have when they got back from Starkville after clinching it on that Saturday night, and then afterwards beating Auburn and getting to be on the floor at Coleman Coliseum cutting down the nets?
Yeah, it was very special. Obviously, anytime you can celebrate a championship in any sport, it means so much to the young men or the young women, the coaches, the staff, the fans, and the community. And so to see us do that on the floor at Coleman after the Auburn game was something very special. I was talking to Jeff Puritan from our staff, who has administrative responsibility for men's basketball for us. And we were just talking about, okay, the Auburn game, let's plan on doing that. Obviously, we're only going to do it if we win the ball game, and we were fortunate enough to do so. But probably the only original idea I've ever had, I said, why don't we do some type of banner that we can that everybody can hold for a lasting memory and picture. And so Alex Aceta from our men's basketball staff, I think she can do almost anything, and she pulled getting the banner put together, I think, in a matter of hours probably. And so that was there, and I got to the point in that game where we felt we were comfortable to put it up on the video board that, hey, stick around afterwards, we're going to cut down the nets, and we did that. And that's a special moment for our program, and especially the seniors on the team, and for them to really stick through this, which is not, there's a lot of transfers in all sports, but especially men's basketball. And to have Herb and Petty and Reese all stay together through the last 4 years, the senior leadership is very valuable. I was talking to a coaching friend of mine the other day. You just can't replace experience and fortitude and the ability to stay together, and what that can mean. And obviously that doesn't guarantee a championship or anything like that, but having senior leadership can really help during those challenging times. You may make an extra stop on defense that you wouldn't have otherwise had without that experience. We saw that on Sunday at the SEC championship. So just really happy for everybody that we got to experience it, especially this year with everything else going on.
And also in women's and men's basketball, having the SEC tournaments over the last couple of weeks. I know you got to see the women's team in Greenville, South Carolina, the men's team in Nashville winning the tournament. Just what was that experience like, getting to see the SEC put on that event that last year everything abruptly stopped during the men's tournament, but this year was a different story?
Yeah, I was really excited to go over to Greenville, South Carolina to support the women. And we obviously had a kind of a challenging first half against South Carolina, but played them well. Really, actually, it's quarters in women's basketball, really the last three quarters, which gives us a lot of confidence going into the NCAA tournament. Then going up to Nashville the next week and being there the entire time. And one of the things I've gone to a lot of conference basketball tournaments over the years, and you pack for success. And so I had to make sure I brought in both to Greenville and to Nashville. You bring clothes for each day because you're planning on being there the whole time. And didn't get to use all my outfits in Greenville, but I did in Nashville, and that's a check mark win for an AD to be able to get to do that. And obviously it's because of the great job by our kids and our coaches to make that happen. But it goes back to March 11th was when everything shut down, and last year. And so to be there, and it was about this time last year, I had to go in the conference room right behind me and tell all of our spring sport head coaches that they were done for the year. And I remember talking to Brad Bohannon afterwards. He said, well, maybe we could get something going in June or July. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it'd be great if we could. I'm all for it. You just don't know much what's going on. And little did we know that we'd still be dealing with COVID a year later. But I also feel like we're making some progress. But Greg Sankey and the SEC staff have done a wonderful job navigating us through this. The ADs, my peers in the conference, have done a great job. So have the presidents, but so have the medical teams, giving us great guidance, both here at Alabama and our training staff led by Jeff Allen, Dr. Rob as our head physician. They've been invaluable through this time and put in just countless hours trying to give us this opportunity for the young people in our program to go out and train and develop and compete. And I'm also, Roger, I think I've said it before, I'm just really proud of our fans. The great majority of them have been extremely understanding for just the curveballs, the challenges this year. And one of the things I just from sitting in my chair early on, just kind of came up with the way I was going to try to manage it from the things I controlled, which, I don't control what percentage of crowd you can have at the game. That's decided by state health officials, and we're going to follow those guidelines. But I was like, let's respect the virus because we didn't know a lot about it, especially early on. Let's respect one another, and let's do everything we can to move forward safely. And that's what we've tried to do, and I'm proud of where we are right now.
And where we are in basketball is getting ready for the Ncaa tournament, both on the men's side and the women's side for the first time since 1999. And I know I've asked you before sometimes, all right, what's your daily schedule going to be like? And for you, I'm sure it's kind of logistically challenging trying to bounce back and forth or try to see all the events that are going on right now. But you got to love that these teams are back in the big dance.
Yeah, let's touch on the women real quick. Just Christy Curry and her staff and team have done a great job. 22 years, that's a long time without going to the NCAA tournament. So we're excited for them to be down in San Antonio. They're going to head out of town here shortly to get down there for the tournament. So then when I was with the team yesterday when it got announced that they were going to the dance, Dr. Bell, our president, was with me too. And I was hoping selfishly that it would come up that their first game would be on Sunday. And then it comes up that it's Monday. So the men obviously are playing Saturday, our first game. I'm going to head up to Indy for that. We don't know if we are fortunate enough to win the first game, and you got to take it one game at a time in March. You cannot take anything for granted. If we're fortunate enough to win that game, we'll play again on Monday. Do not know what time. It could be the exact same time the women are playing, and I haven't found a way to replicate myself yet. So we'll have to make a decision and choose where to be, but obviously extremely proud of both of our programs. It's been very well documented, the job that Nate has done and his staff and the team has done, buying into the culture and what's taking place. So we're very proud of the efforts that they have made, and what a special time for our athletic department, for our university, for our coaches and staff, but most importantly for our kids. And, and I know our fans have been, I don't know, it was a very unscientific poll, but I had to guess that on Sunday in Nashville, it was 75-80% Alabama. And that was great. And I cannot wait for next year. I hope our fans will say, you know what, I'm just going to start making the SEC championship be part of my plans when it comes to March, because I think if it would have been under normal circumstances, we could have had 12,000 Alabama fans in Bridgestone Arena, Nashville on Sunday.
Certainly would be nice. And of course, after the ball game was over, that's when Coach Oates said, no, we're not a football school, basketball school, we're a championship school. Then, Greg, the very next day in cross country, you get a national championship. Mercy Chilane got a gold medal, a bronze medal at the Ncaa championships. I know that sport doesn't get a lot of attention throughout the year, but what a great finish yesterday for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, the team finished, I believe, 8th overall. To see Mercy win a national championship and just the team overall, to have the two of the top three, that's incredible. What an incredible performance. And, one of the things, we have great history here. right? We have incredible history, and we've won a lot of championships in a lot of different sports. Obviously, our men's and women's golf, gymnastics, a job that Sarah Patterson has done. Our gymnastics team is performing really well this year. I'm proud of the job that Dana has done. And we, we've had a lot of success. Our men's and women's track programs have done well. But the very first all-staff meeting we had when Regina and I were so fortunate to be able to come to Alabama, I stood in front of the entire staff and I said, if we're going to keep score, we might as well try to win. And I'm smarter and better looking when we win, and I need all the help I can get with both those things. And so we're Alabama. We're not going to apologize for wanting to be great at what we do. And that doesn't mean we don't have great competition. We do. And the competition is always trying to move forward, and we cannot be just stagnant and say, oh, we're Alabama, we're going to be fine. No, we got to continue to develop. We have to make sure we're on the forefront of what we're doing in college athletics. But we should have an opportunity. There's a reason why I keep this poster behind me that Kent Gidley and our photography team put together. So I'm thinking about all 21 of our teams, all 600 plus student athletes on a daily basis, and what can we do to put us in the best possible position. Some sports have an advantage over others, recruiting base and all those different things. But the way we fund our programs from the experience that our student athletes have, and I'm not just talking about athletic experience that they have, but what we do from an academic support standpoint, what we do from a medical support, mental health, nutrition, strength and conditioning, personal development, life skills, all of those things make a difference. And if you're committed in all those aspects of doing the right things in all those areas, you're going to have a lot better chance to go out and compete. And if we can get a young man or a young woman to our campus and see how beautiful it is, but to see the commitment that we've made for them to develop to their fullest, we got a good chance of getting the young man or young woman to come compete here at Alabama. And we want to do nothing but have that continue to grow and prosper.
Certainly look forward to that. And also, we are keeping an eye on what's ahead starting next year and looking forward to the 2021 football season. And you made the tweet earlier that you're hoping for full capacity at Bryant-Denny Stadium. What else can you tell us about plans getting ready for football and just other fall sports? I know we are in the planning stages for a lot of what's coming up in 2021, 2022.
Yeah, that obviously takes a lot of planning. It's not just flipping the switch. Our university announced that they plan to have full campus activities next year. And so I talked to Dr. Bell about it and thought it was appropriate that we send something out because we were starting to get asked by the media. Now, I put in there that we're going to follow medical guidance. That didn't seem to get a lot of attention, which is okay. But our goal is to have the best opportunity to have a full Bryant-Denny Stadium, our other venues as well. We want that. We're making progress. You're seeing cases go down. You're seeing all the metrics of it trend in a positive way. That needs to continue. We're seeing the vaccine get here. Every doctor I have spoken to, I've heard of one doctor that's a friend of mine, but every doctor I have spoken to is getting vaccinated themselves. They already have. I've gotten the first vaccine, and I'm going to get the second one here in a few weeks. We all need to do our part to give us the best opportunity to move forward, and that goes back to what I said earlier. Let's respect the virus. Let's respect one another. Let's do our best to move forward safely. And so it's amazing the science that has happened through this thing. I'm not real smart, but it's just to be able to put a vaccine together in that amount of time and to see the results that we have is really a testimony to just a bunch of really smart people that have and scientists that have worked together, and to see all the leaders go out and take the vaccine. So obviously we're following the guidelines of when we have access and all that to it. But, I really do feel like we have some momentum going on with that, and real pleased at the progress that we're making. So that gives us a chance to have a full attendance next year. And that's going to be good for our athletic department. That's going to be good for our student athletes. It's going to be good for our community. And I was talking to, I had a student worker in my office earlier today talking a little bit about his career and what he was trying to do, and had a Q&A. And we were actually talking about he asked me about the home and homes that we have coming up in football, and asked me about, hey, are we doing this because, just trying to get away from neutral games? I said, no, that's not exactly why we're doing that. I think everything runs its course, right? However, this is good for people wanting to invest in our program for the future. This is good from a recruiting standpoint. When Coach Saban is talking to football recruits saying, hey, you come to Alabama and you're from the state of Texas, you're going to play in the state of Texas, not just A&M. You're going to play a game in Austin. It's going to be good from our ability to make sure we give our student athletes the best possible experience, all those things I just listed, making sure that we can fund our nutrition program at the highest level, that we can fund our mental health program, that we can fund our medical support, that we can fund our academic support, all those different things to make sure we're giving our kids the best possible experience. That's all connected. And so this is such a special place. We're not perfect. There isn't a perfect organization out there, but we do so many good things to support the young men and the young women in our program, and I'm proud of that. And I think we need to talk more about it, because sometimes you don't hear that. And you hear the narrative that, hey, it's they're not getting anything. And I go back and I look and say, man, for our student athletes not getting anything, we're sure spending a lot of money on it, which we should be. That's good. I'm glad that we are. But it takes real resources to go out and develop young men and young women at the highest possible levels. And Alabama has done that very well for a long time, and we want to make sure we continue to do that in the future. Got on my soapbox there a little bit, Roger.
Certainly like that. We'll start to wrap things up by looking at the spring sports that are happening. You talk about respecting the virus. Anytime I've been to a baseball game at Sewell Thomas Stadium, watched softball games at Rhodes Stadium, people are respecting the distance, and there have been packed houses for both baseball and softball with the limited capacity in there. You got to be proud of that, as well as how well the baseball team, the softball team are playing at this time of the year.
Yeah, we knew we had a really good softball team last year, and luckily, and Coach Battle, he and Mary helped fund the scholarships to cover the cost of bringing everybody back. And so, depending on what poll you're looking at, we're number 2 to 4, and we got great pitching, we got great, bats. Our fielding we've got a lot of talented young women in the field who just do such a great job representing our university. They're outstanding young women. They're great role models for the girls in our community, for anybody in our community. And the progress that we've made with Brad Bohannon, our baseball program, he has hit the ground running from, I think this is his 4th year. I've told him, I said, when we were under normal times, anytime I would fly through Birmingham or fly to the Birmingham airport and fly through Charlotte, or even Dallas, it seems like I ran into Brad half the time because he was out recruiting. And you can see the results that are happening, and really impressed by the improvement we've made. Good culture within the program. He's done a wonderful job with that. And, I think I know we open up with number 1 Arkansas, and then I think I don't have the schedule in front of me. I think we go to Ole Miss.
Ole Miss comes here.
Yeah, Ole Miss is here, and they're number 2 or 3 in the country. So we've got we're going to be tested right off the bat with our conference play. But if you actually look at our non-conference schedule this year, we have played a really high-level opponent. May not have the name necessarily, but the opponents that we've had from an RPI standpoint are very strong, and we have performed well. So really optimistic this year we could have a chance to get back to Hoover. And if you get to Hoover, you got a good chance of making a regional. And then you just keep that process going and building.
Of course, we hope that some great NCAA basketball games are coming up for the Crimson Tide in the NCAA tournament. You've been in college athletics a long time, so before I let you go, just wanted to ask, what's the best NCAA tournament game you've ever been to? Either a game that went down to the wire with one of your schools, one of the upsets you just kind of happened to be at, just any favorite NCAA tournament memory for you, Greg?
Well, I love basketball. I love playing the game. I was not good enough to play for Alabama. But I did love the game, and I used to beg. So my dad was, a lot of my dad was athletic director at Oregon in the 80s and Nebraska in the 90s, then finished his career at A&M. But I used to beg my dad to take me to the Final Four. So 1989 was the first time, hard to believe that's 32 years ago now, was the first time I got to go to the Final Four, and Ramil Robinson from Michigan made the free throws at the end against, is it Illinois or Seton Hall? They were both in the Final Four. To clinch it, and I was sitting at the very top row of the lower level, and so one of the things, I was actually a pretty good free throw shooter, but you don't ever sit on the line. And Ramil Robinson, they were still on the television timeout. He sat on that line for, it seemed like an hour, but it probably was about a minute, and I thought he's not going to have his rhythm down, but he knocked them both down. So going to that Final Four that first time, and during my years at Arizona, we had 3 Elite Eight teams, and we had one that we just last play of the game to go to the Final Four, and a lot of good memories with that. But obviously we're trying to create them here, and we had a NCAA team 3 years ago, and won the first game when Avery was leading us up in Pittsburgh. So we want to get into that second weekend, but you got to take them one at a time, and you can't take anything for granted. Obviously, we're going up against one of the greatest coaches of all time in Rick Pitino this weekend, and he'll have his team ready on Saturday.
Our thanks to Greg for all the time and all the insights he gave us on Alabama athletics. He's keeping an eye, of course, on men's basketball, like we all are. Excited for Alabama's run to begin in the Ncaa tournament this Saturday against Iona. And on Wednesday, it was the first opportunity for Nate Oates to meet with the media after Alabama was done with the quarantine earlier in the week, now really looking ahead to what's coming up. And this is only an excerpt from the press conference he had, but it's about the first 10 minutes or so, and it'll really give you a good snapshot of where the Crimson Tide stand heading into the Ncaa tournament.
No, we left after the selection show Sunday, traveled up, got in late Sunday night, took the first COVID test, took the next one Monday, sat in our rooms waiting to get cleared. The food got much better, for those of you wondering. Yeah. Monday night's dinner was outstanding. Had a steak. They cleared us Monday night. We got in the gym, shot a little bit Monday. Just kind of we made a voluntary shoot around if guys want to get out. They've been sitting in their rooms all day. So the quarantine wasn't too bad. It just lasted till I think about 9 o'clock Monday, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock Monday night. And we were able to get in the gym, shoot a little bit. Tuesday we had a full practice. Today we have full practice. I thought they've been good. Thought the guys are sharp. We lifted yesterday. So the weight room was great. So far, all the accommodations, everything they've done, what they said they were going to do has been good. Guys have stuck to the quarantine well. I mean, we've got our own floor. We're all on the same floor. We've been managing pretty well. I like where our guys are at. I've had a chance to watch quite a few Iona games. They're good. I mean, talk about winning in March with experienced guard play. They got 2 fifth-year seniors. They're both really good, starting at the 1 and 2. They've got a freshman big that's got SEC size, and he's gotten significantly better throughout the course of the year. And then obviously they're coached by Rick Pitino, who's going to do a great job. He's one of the Hall of Fame coach, one of the best coaches in the history of the game. So coaching staff's going to have to make sure we're on top of our game as well. One ironic thing, Keon Ellis' college teammate, who I watched a bunch every time I saw Keon play, is their starting 3-man as well. So we got a little familiarity there. So that's where we're at. Primo, I'm sure I'll get asked about Primo. He is not even really jogging or anything yet. So things are coming. I mean, he's getting better. He feels better every day, but we're not going to rush him into anything. We don't want to. If there's any way him playing could hurt him down the road, we're not going to do that for him. So unless there's significant progress here over the next few days, I don't know that he'll be playing Saturday, but we'll see. I mean, Clark's good. He's got him in rehab all the time, getting stuff done. So he was able to shoot a little bit. He just can't really. It's more like form shooting one spot. He's not really running and jumping or anything yet. So that's where we're at. I'm not sure if there's anything else. You guys think we'll open it up for questions now?
Yep, I got audio now, so I'm good to go. So we'll go ahead and take some questions at this time. Again, if you have a question, just use the raise hand function, and we'll get your question. So let's go ahead and start first with Michael Casagrande.
Yeah. Hey, Nate, just in terms of just the practice setup, the facilities, what's it like? What's it like being around with so many different teams all in the same hotel? What's the dynamics of that situation like for you guys?
Oh, somehow I got muted. It seems like they've got about a fourth of I think they got 4 hotels, and 4th of them are in each hotel. So everybody's kind of got their own floor. You know, Texas Tech is right next to our main room. Michigan's next to our main room on the other side. You know, I know both those staffs really well. You don't actually, you know, you just have your meeting rooms in the hotel and then you walk, you know, it's connected. I haven't been outside since Sunday. I think we've got some scheduled time in this baseball field across the way here. I got to get outside and get some fresh air this afternoon. But, you know, you basically walk through, you know, the whatever you call them, the sidewalks that are, they got them up north all the time where all the snow's at. I don't even know what the
bridges.
There you go, the bridgeway to the convention center. Thanks. And then in the convention center, they've got all kinds of different courts set up. I have no idea how many they have. Like when you're on your court by yourself. There's nobody in there, but you've got your 1 hour and 50 minutes scheduled. And they start the clock, you know, as soon as the clock's supposed to start, as soon as it's done, you get the balls up. They got to disinfect it. I'm guessing they give 10 minutes disinfecting time. The next team's in. And so we basically had 1 hour and 50 minutes. So so far that's been good. The only, you know, our guys like to shoot at night. So we were able to get in Sunday night, Monday, because I think so many of the teams that got here Monday and wanted to get in the gym right away, they couldn't get us shooting time at night. Our guys are accustomed to getting in the gym every night, shooting on their own. Tonight we do have 1 hour, you know, so we practiced already like around lunchtime. It was 11:30 to 1:30 our practice slot. So then we'll get back in the gym at 8 o'clock tonight, shoot. You know, they had the weight room yesterday. The weight room was perfect. It was big enough. They had enough racks. Our guys got a good lift in. So far everything's been going well. I mean, I got no complaints really.
Go next to John Zener.
Yeah, Nate. Javon Quinley obviously has a lot to celebrate this season and with that tournament performance. But how did he handle last year in your mind when he and his family and probably you thought that he probably could have you know, gotten a waiver from the NCAA and not had to sit out?
You know, we were all disappointed. I thought he had as good a case as any. I mean, him and his family got dragged through the mud with that whole thing. I mean, if you look at everything that came out, the court proceedings, they had nothing to do with any of it. They never took any money. They never asked for any. If you knew his parents, they're stand-up people. His dad's a, you know, policeman there in New Jersey. Mom's a great lady. What their family went through with stuff that was said that was untrue about him, you would have thought the people on that committee would have showed a little compassion for what the family had been through. I mean, he was committed to go to one place, had to decommit, do the FBI thing, you know, ended up going somewhere else, you know, and it was documented with, you know, him seeing a counselor and everything. I mean, what he went through was not easy mentally. Things didn't go well. You know, he came here. I thought he was going to get the waiver. He didn't get the waiver, appealed it, didn't win on the appeal. Very, very disappointed. His family's disappointed. I mean, you literally go back. He hasn't played a significant game, you know, significant minutes in a significant game since his high school. So he had 2 years where he really wasn't playing any kind of significant minutes. You know, he didn't play that much at Villanova. And you know what? He needed to grow up too. He admitted some of that. I mean, there was a lot of stuff that he could have done better at Villanova. It's a big-time program, and they win national championships, and then it's great. I mean, so, you know, he understood that. He got here. I thought, you know, when we recruited him, we said we were going to go all in to get the waiver, but we also said either way, we're just going to spend the year getting better. If you can get it, great, we'll play you. We could use you. You and Ncaa would be great together. If not, let's get you as good as you can possibly get. Sitting out, you'll go against Ncaa every single day in practice. Let's make it a win-win. You know, so when he didn't get the waiver, you know, the disappointment was there, and you could see it. I mean, I sat there with him on the conference call and we had to talk to the committee. Like, you know, it was, you know, kind of just talking him off the ledge a little bit there, but then we just get back to working and making him better. I think him going against Ncaa every day in practice made him a lot better. I mean, you look at how well he guards now. He's a pretty good defensive player where that wasn't being said about him before he got here. So, and then offensively, he just brings another pace to the game. I mean, you know, I told our guys, you know, we essentially had 7 starters that, you can't start 7 guys, but we're going to play 7, 8 guys starter minutes, and he's been playing starter minutes, but, he's been great coming off the bench. He gives you a new pace to the game when he comes in. He's making shots. He had about 9 or 10 games in a row there where he shot 50% or higher from 3. If you go back and look those numbers up, I don't know the exact number, but I mean, I think there's 4 guys that had an appropriate amount of attempts in the last decade in the SEC that shot 50% or higher during SEC play. He was one of them. So, I mean, he's had a great year for us. He played great this weekend. I told him too, I said, I thought he got, and again, Ncaa from Arkansas is a really good player, but I thought Quinley, and we won the league, his numbers I thought were better. Thought he deserved 6th man of the year, and he didn't get it. I said, well, that's fine. They didn't want to give you 6th man. Let's just go win tournament MVP because I think you're playing that well right now, and I think you can win it. I told him, going back to my years at Buffalo, I coached 4 different tournament MVPs. 1 as an assistant, 3 as a head coach. So, and we had conference player of the years at Buffalo, and they were never the tournament MVP. It was always somebody else that stepped up. So I kind of said that to him before the tournament. Shoot, he stepped up. I thought he was great. I thought it was great he got it. Herb got player of the year. Dim and Petty are first team, Shaq second team. And Quinley comes in off the bench and gets tournament MVP. I thought it was great for him.
Great to hear from the head coach of the Crimson Tide, Nate Oates, and best of luck to Alabama in the Ncaa men's basketball tournament coming up on Saturday. The first round will begin in Indianapolis, Hinkle Fieldhouse, Alabama against Iona. That starts our look at our weekly schedule for Crimson Tide Athletics, especially all the broadcasts we have coming up here on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Starts with men's basketball, of course, Saturday, 3 p.m. against Iona. Chris Stewart, Brian Passing, Tom Stipe will be there. I'll be remote from Fayetteville hosting pre- and post-game, but our radio coverage will start at 2 o'clock on the network on Saturday. We do not know if Alabama defeats Iona, what the game time will be coming up on Monday, so still to be announced, and after all the games are done on Saturday, should have a better idea of that should the Crimson Tide win against Iona. Now, the baseball team on the road to Arkansas. Even coming up later today, I'm flying out to Fayetteville as the Crimson Tide will start a 3-game series with the Arkansas Razorbacks, number 1 team in the country. Night games on Friday and Saturday at 6:30, radio coverage at 6:25, and then Sunday's final game of the series will be at 2 p.m. from Baum Walker Stadium in Fayetteville, Arkansas, as Brad Bohannon's team begins its run in SEC baseball. Softball team, of course, getting ready for the Tennessee Lady Volunteers, also a Friday through Sunday series. First home SEC series for the Crimson Tide this year at Rhodes Stadium, Friday at 6, Saturday at 2, and Sunday at 1 p.m. Then finally, women's basketball getting ready for the NCAA tournament Monday at noon against North Carolina. The last time that Alabama played an NCAA tournament game in women's basketball, it was North Carolina that defeated them back in 1999. Now here we are 22 years later. It's the Crimson Tide meeting the Tar Heels, and that will be on Monday at noon Central. Actually, it'll be 11 a.m. Central against the North Carolina Tar Heels, but noon Eastern, and our radio coverage will start at 10:55 a.m. across the network coming up on Monday. Then if the Crimson Tide wins, similar to the men's tournament, we do not know the second round times just yet, but we will have radio coverage. If the Crimson Tide do win against North Carolina, we will be in San Antonio for as long as Alabama is there, so we're looking forward to a great run in women's basketball and men's basketball as well for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Well, thanks for watching Crimson Drive, presented to you by Regions Bank. Get your new University of Alabama National Champions Visa check card and checks from Regions Bank, the official bank of the SEC. Just go online to regions.com/GoBama to order yours today. Special thanks to our Facebook Live producer, Ethan Carabin, for putting together Crimson Drive, as it's a really exciting time. Again, Alabama in the NCAA tournament. Look at baseball starting its SEC schedule this weekend against Arkansas. Softball at home against Tennessee. Women's basketball starting its run on Monday. We'll have so much to go over next week at Thursday at 2 p.m. Central for Crimson Drive, but thank you for making us part of your Thursday, and now let's get ready to cheer on the Crimson Tide for some great games coming up over the weekend. Until next time, thank you for watching, good afternoon, and roll Tide.